Hi guys, this is Double Wide 6. I'd like to welcome you to my channel. This video is really long, but it covers a pavilion build. I did find out when I was editing it that there's a fingerprint smudge in the video. I'm aware of that. There's nothing I can do. I can't go back and rebuild this. The video covers how to make these post holders that are in the concrete. I dug out 3 foot there and put in rebar, and then I made or fabricated those brackets for the 6x6 posts. And I also show you how to cut curves on your pavilion. So I have curves up top here and 2 on each post, and I will show you what this looks like underneath so you get a very good idea of what it is that I actually built. It's pine and red oak, and it's green lumber, except for the roof. That pine was kiln dried. This video is meant to be very comprehensive. It's going to cover the whole build, including how to lay this thing out, along with plans. There's a section of the video that gives you plans if you're interested, and a price list. The only thing I want to add is that if you find that something's wrong with the plans, just please make a constructive comment down below, and I will update the plans. And if you're interested in a copy of the plans, please let me know in the comments, and as soon as I get them in a PDF format, I could email them to you. So just let me know in the comments if you're interested. Please give the video a thumbs up if you like it and it's helpful, because I would like this to be seen by the whole world. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy. Now this is the saw I'm using. Really makes my other worm gear saw look like a toy. Cuts really accurate too. Now that's a saw, people. These are the galvanized post stands that I fabricated. I have a previous video, which I'll link below. Now there's going to be anchors in the concrete, and they actually have nuts, so I got to recess this a little bit to make room for the bolt and the nut. Here's a look at the new concrete slab. So I excavated this. I made a video and I haven't posted it yet, but I excavated it and then I hired a concrete guy to come in and pour it. I formed it up, and he touched up the forms a little bit, and he had to reform that step up there because he wanted to do it in one pour. And I also made footings for this pavilion. I've got some concrete here, and I'm starting out just by laying out this thing square, and I'll show you guys how to do that, so you might want to fast forward, but I'm going to take you through the process of everything I can with this job. I'll show you a picture of the plans and what I'm actually doing, and I'll discuss the whole job here. I'm going to try and film everything if I can. I got like 2 zero turns in today that need to be repaired. One needs a new engine, the other one has some other issues, and I got a pressure washer. So I have all this stuff going on simultaneously, but I'm hoping to get this project filmed for you guys. Well guys, I think it's about October 2nd here, 2021. And you see that gable end roof? I'm going to kind of match that with my pavilion. It's going to be on that new concrete. So I dug 3-foot footers, put rebar in there. There's rebar under the concrete. There's also a drain here by the pool. I made a video on that. I can link that below. And here's the concrete. You can see it's really thick. That's about 14 inches there. Comes down to about 5 inches, but most of it is about 5 or 6 inches. And there's a step there. Anyhow, I'm going to show you guys how to lay out this pavilion. My pavilion's going to be 12 by 12, and I'm using red oak that I sourced locally from a guy right down the road. So he just took down these trees yesterday as a sawmill and milled them and gave me a call. So on my truck I have some wood there, and I'm in the process of getting these posts up. So we'll talk about how to square this thing up. The first post, I have electric here that I already ran, so that goes under the concrete. That's going to come in on the back of the post. So I started here we pulled a line, and I made sure it was parallel with the house. I'm still finishing up the siding there, and I'll show you how to square this thing up. So all you have to do is, from this parallel line, I measured out, it's actually 12 foot 1 inch because I'm using true 6x6 posts, so it added an inch to the project. I marked 3 foot right here by putting a dot with a Sharpie, and then on this side I measured 4 foot, put a dot with a Sharpie, and this measurement from that dot to this dot needs to be exactly 5 foot or 60 inches. So if you line up this ruler from the dot there to the dot over here, and as long as that string is even and just touching the corner, that's going to be perfectly square. So that's what I did, and then I pulled the string along this way and marked the next corner. And then all you have to do, once you have a couple corners set up, you can go catty corner. You could do the Pythagorean theorem and figure out the distance. That's what I did. In fact, I just asked the computer what it should be, and I measured across the corners, and I made sure it was exactly the same, and that means the structure is square. So we're just getting these brackets set into the concrete at this point. I'll now show you how these attach to the concrete. These are stainless wedge anchors. I'm adding some candle wax to the bottom of the end grain for these posts. It's supposed to help the wood breathe and not crack because this is wet lumber. Where are you moving it to? I'm putting it right on that post.
Set it right on here. Right?
Yeah, it's not quite sitting down flat. Hold on to that tight. Now we're down. Alright, hold that right there.
Hello, Baba Louie.
Hello.
Here we
How are
go.
you?
Good.
See, that bubble's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's
Real
No.
close. Alright, that one's good. Now, the other one. Let me see that one. What's up, Puff?
you, baby.
Alright, it's got to go back. So, I'll work on this side. Tell me when the bubble's getting close, okay?
It's getting closer.
Tell me when it's there.
It's there.
Driving tight. That's good for that one. So I was going through editing the video. I did notice that there's a fingerprint throughout the video. I apologize for that. I didn't know. I saw it when I was editing. And also, we missed the part that has to do with leveling the posts. So what I did is that back corner post, I cut that one right at 8 foot, and I made sure that my other posts were a little bit longer because my concrete is pitched to the drain. And now I want to show you what I did to level the posts. So to give you an example, I have a string tied off here and it goes over to the other post, and I have my helper over there, and on here we have a line level. And I think I actually got this tool free with something I bought. It's kind of junky, it's low tech, but these posts are perfectly level because I checked them. They're within a 1/16 of an inch. So Maddie, can you move the string up a little bit?
Yep.
And all you have to do is get it kind of close to where you want to be, and then you would go and mark the post over there, and that's all there is to it. Very low tech, very simple, but very effective for the build. This technique here is called the Polish plane. I got to move this thing over here, and I don't have anyone to help me. So this is going to be heavy. See how it goes. Sometimes you got to work alone.
Boy's taking a shower.
Just hold that ladder over there.
Hold the ladder?
Yeah, make sure it doesn't fall off. Go right there. You got on that ladder?
Wait, am I?
Just make sure it doesn't move. Alright. Coming over there.
Am I lifting this?
No, just stay there. I'll pick it up and put it on the post. Just don't knock off this end. You just gotta guide it up there. Fingers. Alright? Here's a close-up look of the joint. You can see it came out real nice. This joint is very well designed. It's pretty easy to hide imperfections the way it overlaps like that. There's going to be an overhang here, and this is how the top came out. Nice and neat. Well guys, we're gonna have to call it a day. October 3rd, 2021. And we'll see what tomorrow holds. I know one thing I forgot, and I have a center post coming up here to the top king post that runs the main roof rafter there. And I forgot to notch that out, so I can notch that out up here with the saw. But yeah, I'm happy with today's progress. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Ready?
Yeah. Move.
I'm going to move it forward. Why don't you move, I'll pick up. You move the ladder towards me. That'll angle it up more. Pick up the
Can I
ladder.
lift up the other side for you? Dad?
Turn the ladder.
Dad, can I lift up the other side? Because I can help.
Yeah, help.
What do you need me to do?
Just stand there and make sure it doesn't fall.
Can you help me?
Alright. Hold the ladder, Bobby. Alright, and then you can bring the ladder over here.
Hold that one.
Watch out. So I can push it forward and kind of seesaw it and then put this end up here. Just don't want to go too far. Easy.
Dad, Christy said you could absolutely come over.
Try. Man. You think that's alright? I gotta put yours up like that. I mean, I can put this up, I guess. That side should be alright. Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how to make curves for your pavilion. So I'll give you a walk around and kind of show you the curves. I've got two up here. There's going to be a third one going in the back here that goes up to the top. I didn't quite get that one in yet. And each post has two real nice looking curves, and these are 4x8 oak pieces cut at 45 degrees, and it's going to be on every corner. A little hard to see with the lighting, but you kind of get the idea. I'm going to show you how to make these. They're not too hard to make, and they really enhance your project. So If you haven't caught the videos, I have a full video on building this pavilion. So I just got, well, I'm not even done. I'm close to being done. The concrete work, everything up to the roof caps. So check out my channel under Pavilion and you'll see the playlist. So I was making 10 of these. So I already cut the miters, and that was just done with my 12-inch chop saw. And just centering this up. So you gotta buy wood that's wide enough to allow for the curve. In my case, 8 inches is what's gonna work out well. So I'm gonna be using my wooden bandsaw, and I bought these plans from Matthias Wandel, his woodworking channel, and you get to see how this saw cuts. We're cutting red oak here. I've moved you inside just because of the wind and the sun. So all this dust in my garage is going to be created for you guys. So hopefully I get a like and a few subscribers. This is a look at the one that I just cut, and I haven't sanded it or anything. And this one has been sanded, and I just want to take you guys along for the finish journey. So I'm using the Heritage finish, which is recommended for wet or green lumber. I talked a little bit more about it in one of my videos on this pavilion. But you can see, you just put it on like this, you can brush it. I kind of like using a rag. You won't have any drips with the rag. And I was doing the pavilion, putting the finish on it, on new concrete, and I didn't want any drips. It would have been smart to put the finish on prior to building, and I tried to with what I could, but I didn't have the finish right away, and I wanted to start building because I had all the wood ordered. You can see how it really brings out the grain of the red oak. You're not going to see grain like this with cedar or pine pressure treated wood. So being that I'm a woodworker, I can really appreciate this whole project and finish. This product allows the wood to breathe and prevents it from checking or cracking. You can see there's already some cracks in this piece. But it's a rustic build, so what are you going to do? Now, the end grain, I'm treating with wax. And what that does is that allows the wood to breathe slowly and prevents cracks. So I tried to do this on all the end grain on this project because that's what I read online when I was doing some research. Paste wax works well. I'm just using candle wax that matches. Wax is wax. You don't have to get too technical. So anyhow, that's the finish. We could put it up right away or we could let it dry a little bit. But I have other stuff I gotta do. So anyhow, guys, check out the channel, check out the Pavilion series, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Back towards you.
Yeah.
One more. Alright, we'll flop it up.
Okay. Now I'm real close to the
Yeah,
knife.
give it a push.
More.
Yeah, more. Are you in?
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
So I'm not just using nails to hold this thing together. There's some gigantic wood screws, and I think these are called Saber Drive. These are really good. They have the hex head, and you don't need to pre-drill. And this is red oak, as I said. You just need a good impact, and this gigantic battery. This one's an M18 HD12. It's used for my leaf blower and my chainsaw. But when you need to drive something like this without pre-drilling, this is what you want. I'm also going to put 2 screws in the top and the bottom of each rafter. once I catch the top of the rafter, I'm going through and catching the bottom. Here's a closer look at these screws. They have a hex head, which is nice because then you can use an impact socket. And it's set up to pre-drill, and it also has like these ridges where it cuts the grooves. That's why they go in so easy. Plus they're treated because the oak I'm using is pretty corrosive. And it's called Platinum Saber Drive, which I'd recommend. I'll put a link down below to those. And this is the impact I'm using. It's the 1/2 inch high torque, which is putting them in really easily. And I put most of them in, and that battery is still at 4 bars. Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to cut the common rafter on this thing. So that's the board that goes from the top board up there. That's your ridge, but the rafter is the one that runs down. So I'm going to show you how to calculate that and lay it out and cut it. I've got one left. So I'm going to show you how to lay out this rafter just using a speed square. Down here it says pivot, so you're going to pivot it this way, and down here it tells you your common top cut. So in our case we're cutting it at 6 because I want the pitch of my roof to be a 6/12. So right here is going to be our top cut. That'll get cut off, and that'll match the roof of my home. The next thing I'm going to lay out is the bird's mouth, and that's a notch where your rafter actually sits on top of your wall. So you can go online and there's rafter calculators there. In fact, that's what I did. You could type in the width of your ridge beam and all the factors in your building, and it'll calculate it for you. And according to the computer, it told me that my bird's mouth should be at 78 3/8 is where it should start. So that's right there. And the back of that cut is going to once again be exactly a 6/12 pitch. So it's going to go right here, just like that. And I want my bird's mouth to be up 2 inches, because you never want to go more than 1/3 of the width of your rafter. If you're making a bird's mouth that's more than 1/3 of your rafter, like it's half of it, then you need a rafter with more width. So at this point, this is going to be a 90-degree angle. Just get that lined up nice. So that'll be cut away, and that'll sit on top of my wall. And then depending on your overhang, my overhang, I want 10.5 inches. So from there to there is 10.5. And on the back, your rafter tail, it's going to be the exact same cut as your top cut. Okay, so once again, 6. So that's how you lay it out. What I would do if you're working with gigantic heavy beams like this is lay one out on like a 2x6, or rip down a 2x8 to exactly 6 inches. You know, a 2x6 wouldn't work because that's dimensional lumber for me. And then, as you can see, I made a plywood template that I'm using so that they're all the same. But I'm just laying this one out to show you guys how I did it. Now I'll show you how I cut them. So here's how I cut these. Now, a 6/12 pitch is like 27 degrees, and a computer will tell you that. So you can look up whatever pitch you want, and I just set my saw at 27. It's actually 26.7 or something like that. But So I got one end cut. I am going past the line a little bit, but this beam's so thick, I'm not worried about weakening it. And I finished the cuts with the Sawzall. Now, using red oak, it's a really pretty wood, and I'm going to try and show that off with these beams. So it's been quite a process here, and you know, not only do you have to cut them, but you also have to sand them to get that grain to really come through. So I want to see the grain, because this isn't pine and it's not cedar, so this is the sanding process. The last step that I'm doing in the process is running a router over these boards, because the edges are really sharp and it gives it a really nice finished look. And also with the posts, when people touch them, I want them to be soft. The only other way to do it is to, you know, hand sand them or chamfer them with a chisel or something, or block plane. But I'm just routering, and I'm actually using a roundover bit, and it's been looking really good. So when you look up, these beams are going to look beautiful, and that's the whole idea. So the finish that I'm using is this Heritage Natural Finishes, and this is really good stuff. My buddy recommended it, and he just did a timber frame project. And in fact, if you go on any of the forums and you read about how you should finish your green wood so it doesn't crack and split all over the place, this is what you want to use. It's breathable. I am not sponsored by these guys. I wish I was, because it was about $400 for 3 gallons of the stuff. But it's a really pretty finish, and it's natural. Some of the things it says is breathable, durable, easy long-term care, low maintenance. It says their ingredients are proven for centuries. It's also used It helps reduce the checking of timbers and logs, especially in green oak. So that kind of sold me right there, because I am using green oak. And this product should last for about 5 years, and I'm mainly just worried about my posts, because they're going to be hit with the weather, where the rest of it will actually be protected by shingles in the roof. And it's also UV resistant, and the last thing is it protects from mold. So it seems like a really good finish, and it's easy to apply. I'll show you putting some on right now. So here's the finish, and it smells like oranges, and you can just see how pretty that grain is. Now you'll find that this oil finish is so thin that it's almost hard to brush on without having a lot of drips. So you definitely want to put it on your project before you put it up. Otherwise you're going to have to be very careful. So when you rub on this oil finish, it reminds me a lot of, I make hammer handles and axe handles and things like that, sometimes just from scratch. And this is a project I did. I found an axe head, and I hand cut this thing on a bandsaw and shaped it, and I applied an oil to the handle. I usually use tung oil, but this finish reminds me a lot of, it's so rewarding to oil up a handle like this that you just created and see that grain come out. Well, I'm having the same type of feeling with this timber frame. Now the last thing I wanted to show you here is that the end grain, we want it to be able to breathe. So I did put the heritage finish on there, but what I read online is it's recommended to apply wax to the end grain. What the wax will do is it'll allow the timber to breathe, but it'll breathe slowly and dry slowly, so the moisture will come out. And I'm going to put this wax on here. It'll protect the end grain and allow it not to check and split. So I'm doing that to all the exposed end grain. Now, this rafter tail will have a fascia on it, but I'm going to, apply wax to them anyhow to help prevent the cracking.
Clamps down here, so just
Pick up a little bit on your end. That's good. Push down on your end. Good for this.
yeah.
Hey guys, Double Wide 6, and today I'm going to be making dimensional shingles into roofing caps, and I'm going to show you how to do it right here. So this is my dimensional shingle, and what we're going to do is flip it over and cut it into thirds. I just drew some lines on my table. It happens to be 13 inches for my shingle. So I'm just using a framing square to make sure these are straight. And then once you get them cut, you want to angle back from here, back a little bit on each one, and just snip those corners. So your shingle will look like that. And this is so when they overlap that you don't see any of the edge. You can calculate how many you'll need by adding this distance here. So for mine, about 6 inches, 14 feet. So 228, need about 28, 30 of these shingles. Alright guys, I'm up on the roof, and if you didn't see my videos, I'm building a pavilion. It's a heavy timber pavilion, which is pretty cool, so you can check that out. And here's the ridge cap. I already started. I got 3 of these dimensional shingles on here. There's a little bit of mystery surrounding this because I've always heard that you need 3-tab shingles to actually do this ridge cap. But that's not the case. These are dimensional shingles, and right now they're sticking up a little bit, but when it gets hot, they're going to lay down. The problem was I got these shingles at a discount because they were left over, and if you try and match, sometimes you can't find what you want. So in this case, I'm going to use the dimensional shingles, and all you have to do is snap a line. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a blue line here. I laid a shingle at the end and a shingle at the other end and snapped the line, and I'm just snapping a line on one side. Now all I have to do is line up the shingles, and we're going to nail it here with 4 nails, 2 on each side. So you take the shingle, you line it up where it needs to go on our chalk line, and then you put 2 nails here and 2 nails on the other side. And one other tip for you guys is the cap is probably the most likely to get blown off by wind. So the wind at my property comes from that side, basically the west and the north. So I'm orienting the shingles so that the wind edge is actually going to be against my house here. And the back of the shingle, you can see how they kind of overlap that way. So just one more tip for you, and I'll show you what this looks like when I get it wrapped up. Well guys, I got it done. Looks pretty good. Here's a view from this side. You can see it looks nice and neat. Very happy with this method. 2 or 3 days in hot sun, and that should look good. And the good news is I didn't have to buy any caps, and it's an exact match. Here's a look at the pavilion. You can see I matched the roof pitch of the house, that gable end there, and the pavilion match. I did not connect it to the house. I want to explain why. It probably would have been nicer had I connected it to the house. It would have required 2 posts rather than 4, but I would have had to do vinyl siding work up there, and because of that step out there, it wouldn't have been easy to connect to the house because my roof actually runs through that, unless I pushed it up and made it higher, but I think it would have gotten in the way of the window. Also, with my concrete slab, I wanted to leave as much open area as I could, and you'll notice that I pushed the pavilion as far over to the right as I could, and it actually sticks out past the house's bump out, which would have caused another problem. So for me to solve this, the easiest thing to do was to leave a gap between the pavilion and the house. I haven't finished up the landscaping yet, but here's what that gap looks like. And there's the sort of like the bump out I was talking about. Another thing that I wanted is I wanted to allow the light to still get into the window there. That window is in front of the kitchen sink, so sunlight still gets in there, which is nice. Also, looking out at the pool here, I want to be able to see everything when I'm at the kitchen window. So it's a very open plan where you can see right through. This is not the finished furniture or anything. I'm just kind of storing this here for the winter.